microphone? So I'm guessing that most of you have seen me do little presentations like this over the years, and you're going to notice some common themes. Ron asked me to come talk a little bit about service information this year, and then Robbie asked me for something similar for tomorrow afternoon, and coincidentally, Steve Hanshu asked for something similar for Apex next month. And when I started looking back at some of the things that I've talked about over the years, there's this common theme that's been evolving, and it's all about providing exceptional service support in the aftermarket to build our brand image. But over the last year, I've been kind of changing the theme from providing service information and diagnostic tools to promoting something that maybe is more fundamental to being able to support your customers, and that's the whole concept of service readiness. So today and when we do this again tomorrow and next month, we're going to talk about all this in the context of service readiness, and I'll explain what that means in just a moment. So we're going to talk a little bit about what service readiness is, talk about challenges that you face as an aftermarket repair shop technician, the kinds of resources that you can generally get for all of the automakers out there, where to find them, just briefly. And then I want to talk in a little more depth about Toyota's service readiness model, what I'm calling 360-degree service support, and I'm seeing elements of this in Vinny's stuff and seeing it in Bob's stuff as well. Talk a little bit about a formula for a successful service readiness model, and then the resources that we're providing to empower you to be service ready for your Toyota Scion and Lexus customers. So what do we mean by service readiness? And there's enough automakers in here to where you clearly understand this, because you go through the service readiness cycle probably starting a couple of years out from before the time you actually start delivering cars to dealers. And then as you get closer and closer to that date of first sale, that's when you scramble to make sure that all of the service information is there, that the technicians are trained on the new systems. You make sure that the service parts are there and in stock in case something has to be replaced. So service readiness is really having received the training, having received the service information or have access to it, the service tools and the service parts necessary to perform any kind of a repair that you might encounter on the first day that you see that vehicle. And you've got it all accessible in advance of the arrival of that product in your service bay for repair. And as you'll see, as you know, there's more to service readiness than having a scan tool and having access to service information. So this is a slide that you've probably seen through several of my presentations. It tries to depict what the poor guy in the repair shop is going through over the last essentially 35 years that I've been watching this closely. So, this is 35 years worth of technology, and this poor guy has got to fix cars and earn a living, and at the same time he's got to keep up with all of this stuff, and every year it gets tougher and tougher, and the vehicle gets exponentially more complicated with each revision, and pretty soon you get frustrated, and all you want to do is say, "Oi." So, I mean, how easy is it to be service ready nowadays? Well, most of you out there can attest to the fact that it's not easy at all. But the good news is, just by virtue of the fact that you're here, you've got a passion for this kind of stuff, and you know, this is what you want to, you know, get up in the morning and go to work for, to learn all this stuff and keep on top of it. So what kind of resources are there in general, and where can you get them? Well, you know, over the years, NASTF has evolved, and NASTF's got a great website, ASA's got a great website, and if you go to those websites, you'll find links to all of this service information. And I don't really think there's anybody in this room that hasn't used these resources, so I won't spend a lot of time on this. I guess another thing that's important is that really this stuff is quite affordable. Most of it is priced so that you can kind of buy it as you need it, and you use it as a supplement to the other information you've used for the last 20 or 30 years. However long you've been in the business, in all likelihood you've got some third-party scan tools. In all likelihood, you're using, you know, Mitchell 1, all data. I don't know what kind of service information you're using, but you know, you're probably not subscribed to all the automakers' websites. You may not be subscribed to any of them. But when you need an automaker scan tool, or when you need automaker service information, here's the information on how to get to it, and in many cases, in fact, in most cases, available on a short-term subscription model, which was always intended to give you an opportunity to use it when you need it and pass the cost along in the price of a repair, very similar to the way that you might pass along an environmental management fee or an environmental disposal fee. It's just an extra line item on the repair order for things you had to use for this repair that are extraordinary. So this gets me to this whole concept of 360 degrees of service support. So what are the real keys to successful auto repair in the 21st century? Well, you know, accurate, comprehensive service information, factory scan tools, they're certainly a must. But over the years, there really hasn't been a lot of discussion about these items in the broader context of service readiness in the aftermarket. And the fact is that only a very small percentage of aftermarket shops are truly service ready for their customers when a car rolls in the door. And if you stop and think about it, how often does a car roll in the door where either you don't have a scan tool that's got the functions you might need for repair, where you may not have the factory service information that you might need for that car, or where you maybe need some technical assistance support because you're struggling with a repair that maybe 100 other techs have figured out, but it's your first time for seeing it. So I think that a lot of you in this audience already understand that service readiness is not achieved simply with service information alone. So, you know, what are the elements of true service readiness? Well, we know that a vehicle's really too complex to diagnose and repair without all of the appropriate resources, which means maybe you need a factory scan tool, maybe you need some information that's in a factory repair manual or technical service bulletin that's not in your Mitchell or all data or other third-party service information. And you also understand that you can't expect to succeed in modern auto repair without a commitment to 100% service readiness for the stuff that you intend to support for your customers. Your customers come to you, they expect you to have what you need to be able to fix their car, and they don't want to hear that they got to take it somewhere else because you've chosen not to invest in something. So what are these things that you need to invest in and have invested in before the car shows up? Well, initially, if you're going to work in an auto repair shop nowadays that's working on these advanced systems, you certainly need a strong automotive technology background. You know, young people coming into this industry, and all of you in this room, you got a pretty strong education in the fundamentals. You also have a commitment to grow and learn because this is not a static industry. It's always changing. And you need some product-specific training and product-specific knowledge. Without those things, you're immediately behind the 8 ball when the car shows up in your shop because you don't know what to do next. you got to stop and take time to research, and in most of your shops, it's a production environment. When the cars come in, you got to get them fixed, get them out, and move on to the next one. So you don't have a lot of time to learn on the job, although you do spend a lot of time learning on the job. But you should get as much of that out of the way up front as you can. Next thing you may need is factory service information. We'll show you how we make that affordable for you at Toyota. Factory diagnostic functions. Again, we'll show you how we make that affordable for you at Toyota. Technical assistance support. We'll show you how we're helping with that nowadays. And I'm kind of intrigued with what GM's doing, and I think as we get into our panel discussion, we'll want to talk about that a little bit, because I think that's a fundamental element of service readiness. And then factory service parts options. There are certain parts on the car that aftermarket equivalents aren't even available, but there's also parts where either because of your shop preference or because of the preference of the customer, you want a good source of factory service parts. So this is what I refer to as 360 degrees of service support. If, as an automaker, you can offer all of those things, and you can offer them to a well-educated repair community, you got a pretty good chance of getting your customer's car fixed right the first time, and most important to you, you make a profit doing it. There's a lot of people fixing cars nowadays who are losing money on every car.